Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Whether it's morning or evening or afternoon or 4 a.m., wherever you are. Um, I am going to give a brief introduction to develop our speaker, and then we're going to move into the workshop proper. But if you just join, there's a link we're sharing around in the chat that contains a Google Doc with an introduction table that you're welcome to fill out. So please introduce yourself and take a look at it if you haven't yet. It is a multi-page Google Doc, so there's a directory, and then on the left you'll also see an audit. If you've already done the directory and filled in a row for yourself, feel free to move into the audit. I'm sure Fran can elaborate more in a second. Um, but yeah, welcome. I'm going to give a bit of context about Develop, the organization hosting this virtual event. If you're not familiar with us, Develop, which is the word develop with an H at the end, is a community of critical and creative practice. We were founded in the Philippines in 2016, and since then we've kind of evolved into a remote community of practice, an organization that does things like art exhibitions, um, archiving, we produce tools, and we make educational programming such as this. It has been a core of what we've been doing over the past few years. So I'm very excited to invite Fran, who has been a very close part of the developed community. Um, and we were chatting a bit before this, and it indeed feels like a very full circle moment to have her share her knowledge. And it's been so lovely to see how curious she's been, how much she's grown, and how she's kind of positioned herself in the world of tech. Um, if you're curious about develop and in general thinking more about technology and the arts together, or more poetic ways of thinking about technology and the internet, definitely encourage you to join the Discord or follow us on Instagram for future programming. We do things like host open calls for events. We do things like community gatherings, discussions, and we host programming like this. We're also working on a publication specifically centered around Southeast Asian perspectives around technology and the arts. So keep on the lookout for that on our social platforms. You can see the link on the event channel. Um, and speaking about this event, as I mentioned, I've been following Fran's practice for a while. We've known each other for a long time. We went to like the same school, and then we've been witnessing each other from afar. And again, I'm such an admirer of Fran. In the past year, she's started sharing her journey about around digital gardening, putting up sites and tutorials and resources for others to learn about this practice as well. And I'm just so excited to have her to share a bit about what digital gardening is, what it affords her in her practice, and how it's changed her way of thinking around the internet. Um, I will read out her bio and then I'll hand it off to her. Fran Carlos is a Filipino medical student, artist, and technologist devoted to more mindful and gentle ways of being. Through her videos, writing, and tiny toolkits, her work seeks to explore the question, how might we reclaim our curiosity, creativity, and humanity in and alongside digital spaces? So very excited to host this digital gardening workshop with Fran. I'm passing it off to you now.
All right. Um, yeah, thank you so much for that, Chia. I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay. Are the slides good? Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, thank you so much, Chia, for introducing me. It's it's really awesome to be here and to get to teach something that I've loved so dearly for the past 3 years. And like what Chia mentioned, this really is a full circle moment. Because I first got acquainted with Develop in I think 2016, so I was only 12 years old, and now I'm 21 doing postgrad. It's quite crazy to think about. But yeah, Develop has been super pivotal and if not one of my North Stars in who I am and am becoming as a technologist. Um, so yeah, before I talk about myself, I wanted to do some intention setting together, which is that through this workshop, I really hope that we get to plant the seeds of what it'll take to reclaim our curiosity, creativity, and connection in and alongside spaces, because there is a greater reason, which is that it will help us show up better for ourselves, our minds, and our souls, and for the people that we care about. Because only once we become aware of the current state of our relationship with tech and the role that it plays in our lives can we improve it. Yeah. So, for a bit of background on myself, I grew up not really surrounded by tech. I was that classmate who had like 5 Mbps Wi-Fi, and that was already for the whole house. So, I didn't really get to experiment much with tech in my earlier years. But I also did my undergrad in human biology, and in high school I did research on human attention prediction in saliency models, which is when I really started to dip my toes in tech. Right now I'm a medical student and content creator, and a lot of my work revolves around helping others find more concrete ways to find balance while using tech and being online. And when I'm not making videos, I'm still tinkering with tools. All of this really ties together in thinking about how knowing a world, a practice, or a relationship without being too deep in these digital spaces, it's been such a crucial anchor in how I navigate them at present. Right. So you're here because you want to learn how to digital garden. This is going to be quite an intro workshop. But yeah, I've always liked to think about this term loosely because it makes your practice more expansive. But at its core, I think about digital gardening as a process of just consciously curating and synthesizing information to tend to your curiosities. I think the keyword here is conscious. Oh, yeah, so I've tried digital gardening in many ways. I've done it with Ari.na. I've done it with Jekyll. This is the first time I ever built my own website like this. I also do it on Obsidian, which is what we'll be doing today. But in case you're curious, I thought I'd just show a little bit of my digital gardens that I've made in the past. So this is the one that I made with Jekyll. Guys, this was a pain to it was quite a pain to maintain, and this is the garden that taught me simpler is better. Um, but yeah, so I made this on Jekyll, and another one that I one of my favorite and one of my most long-standing ones is this garden or channel on Ari.na. It's been going on for 4 years, where basically I explore the question, how to live well. So it's just a curation of different snippets from articles, different links, tweets even that explore the question, how do I live well? Yeah, just a sample block here. Okay. Um, so yeah, it's really cute because I love how in digital gardening I've realized that I think about a lot of things poetically in a sense. So if you know Beer's law, it's a lot in spectroscopy, but this reminded me about how we should give each other more grace. Yeah, Beer's law states that the absorption of light by a sample is directly proportional to the length of its path and its concentration. So that just reminded me of like the principle of how you can only really give others as much grace as you're able to absorb their circumstances or their feelings. So, yeah, let's take a look at the architecture of most internet consumption. So, most of our popular online spaces are designed to be passive, wherein we basically just scroll and consume, or loud, where content competes to be heard. And it's unidirectional, where feeds move in one direction and articles read from start to finish. And, while these bits of internet consumption architecture aren't bad, they're good at certain things. they don't really mirror how we naturally think and explore. So, yes, while news feeds can be great for discovery when it comes to what's timely and relevant, I love seeing what my friends have been up to. It's still passive and it encourages breadth without much depth. Um, do you remember what you saw on your last scroll and what it even meant to you? That's the question I think about when I realize that we need to build relationships with the information that we consume. Because digital gardens help you take more ownership of how the information in your ecosystem shapes your identity and your worldview. So digital gardening as a practice offers the alternative architecture um, where it's active because we curate and we synthesize. It's more personalized because there's more space for reflection, and it's also spatial because ideas can connect in multiple directions. This is how we think and exist in the physical world. Digital gardening is a process that lets you wander and double back and discover unexpected connections. So, yeah, just think about how you'd move through a physical garden where you'd explore different paths, sit in various spots, and you'd notice how different plants relate to each other across seasons. So that's how your ideas should be growing and connecting. Also, just a little side note, you might have heard of the term second brain or Zettelkasten. I don't really use that because when I use the term digital garden, I think it commits me more to the process over the format. So yeah, it feels more plain, like dandelion garden. Also, unlike note-taking or bookmarking, digital gardening is about nurturing ideas over time, and you let them grow in and connect in unexpected ways. Yeah. Why even digital garden? We live in the information age under the attention economy. So, yeah, basically the information age is where information has become so easily and widely disseminated because of how much tech permeates our lives. Um, but alongside this is the attention economy, where your attention is literally one of the scarcest resources you can give. You quite literally, you don't really pay money in the attention economy. You pay attention. Um, so yeah, I've come to realize that one of the best ways to stay grounded living in this state of the world is by recognizing that we don't just consume information. We're meant to build relationships with it. And again, like digital gardening has helped me do that because you're not just on like your TikTok feed where after you scroll past a video, you never see it again. No. In digital gardening, we have repeated encounters with what we consume, and it's often in different contexts. So yeah, I want to start this by taking an internet walk together. If you guys saw the link to the doc that Chia sent earlier in the chat, what we'll do is we'll visit our most used internet platforms, browse as we normally would, and fill up our internet walk table as we go. And yeah, after taking your internet walk, you can just drop a surprising discovery from your table in the chat. I think we can do this for around 20 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So I think that maybe we could resend the link in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just seeing Chia's question about what's an online canteen. Yeah, an online, I think it's not really literal. I think I use the word in a more literal sense where like it's basically an online space documenting what's cooking, what I'm up to, what I'm thinking about, and all that. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna stop my screen for a bit. Um, and we'll take an internet walk until 10:40. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and do my internet walk with you guys. League of Legends TikToks. One thing I love about Are.NA is, in my opinion, it's probably the most thoughtful place on the internet right now because you get to see what people care about without like that software architecture that makes you want to perform. Because Are.NA doesn't really have vanity metrics, so it doesn't really have likes or um, it doesn't really have likes or it doesn't really number your followers, but it does show like who's connecting your blocks and to what. So for example, here, I have this block on how is digital buttons affected my belief and contentment. Yeah, so you as you can see, like you can't really see likes or anything, but you can see the connections and who made them and to what. And somehow I think that's actually more significant than like Oh my gosh. I don't know if it's just me also, but like I feel like the number of gambling ads I've been getting on both Facebook and like Twitter, oh, it's just quadrupled the past weeks. It's very no, it's not very nurturing. Yeah, I'm going through the internet walk table right now, and it's so cute and also lightheartedly funny seeing how how different everyone's feeds are. All right, I think that most are done typing their stuff down, so maybe we can finish by 10:35. Oh, I'm really loving the diversity here. Everything from League of Legends to um, religion, AI SaaS news, F1 fan art, a lot of VC too, a lot of AI, headlines but never reading the article. Oh wow, Nikki dropped a Reiki infused meditation. It's pretty interesting. We've also got bombing the midterms memes, football reels, Dan and Phil hard lunch. Right. Okay, so I think that there really is an interesting set of, sorry, I'll just pause the music. Okay, so yeah, I feel like there really is a lot of diversity in terms of like alignment with what I care about versus what I'm consuming. Because for quite a number of people, it does seem like what you care about is what you're consuming. It's just that it's hidden within a lot of other things. So like um sorry, I'm just going through this. Right, so it does seem like there is some alignment, but there is also a lot of diversity. So it's like what I'm understanding here is that maybe finding meaningful information to you is sort of like a Russian roulette where you don't really know um when it's gonna hit. Also, are you aware that like maybe 50% of what you consume on TikTok are Peter Griffin voiceover memes? So yeah, I think it's a good step to start by being aware of this. Okay, so I think that now that we've done the internet walk, we can start with the most exciting part, which is to set up our gardens. So yeah, if you received the blast on Luma, you were asked to please like download Obsidian and also like set up your account, but if you haven't, you can get to that now. Um, and yeah, so we'll start by setting our Obsidian up. So basically, when you go on Obsidian, you start by making your first vault, name it whatever you want to, and then you can make one or two folders to start. Um, I think that a good rule of thumb for this is you start with one or two, but not too many, because the value lies in your ideas and not necessarily like the format, if that makes sense. And if you need some ideas for folders, I have some here. So I have concepts, findings, general ideas, personal realizations, questions, quotes, rules and laws, and thesis. I can show you guys how this has played out for me in my garden so far, um, just in a bit. But yeah, so now that you have these general folders, I think that this goes hand in hand with, oh, sorry. Right, let me give you a minute to download Obsidian if you haven't, and I'll screen share how to make your first Obsidian Vault. Obsidian is a bit different from most platforms because it saves your different notes or your different bits of info as text files. So each new info is a text file. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys how to make an obsidian vault. Okay, this one is my 3-year-old second brain. But all right. So I'll wait for you guys to react to Gia's message to see if everyone has downloaded Obsidian. We're 20 here, so hoping for ooh, so many thumbs ups. It's perfect. Okay, maybe we can wait for one more thumbs up just to make sure that enough people have Obsidian installed and set up. Oh yes, you if you have any questions, you can totally leave them in the chat so that I can read them and hopefully get to them right now on the spot. Okay, cool. So we are at 15 thumbs ups. I think that means enough people have Obsidian download, but if you haven't, you can go to obsidian.md to download, install, and make your account. But yeah, so to make your vault is to make the container for your second brain. And it's really easy. All you do is just click create vault name. This kind of saves it as a folder. So I'll just name it Fran's Digital Garden because I already have Fran's second brain. Choose a location. And also, I've heard of the syncing situation being different for those on like Mac and iOS. It's different for those who are on Windows and Android, but if you're using Mac or iOS and you have iCloud Drive, that actually lets you sync your second brain between your phone, your laptop, your iPad, and whatnot. So just creating my second brain. Okay, perfect. So this is what you start with. Do you think that I'm gonna answer a question in the chat. Do you think that Obsidian storing the files locally, unlike Notion, which is online, although Obsidian Sync exists, makes it better, like for the second brain, digital garden, etc.? Mm. So I honestly don't have much experience with Obsidian storing the files locally because like what I mentioned, my Obsidian is synced to my iCloud. So that kind of does make it online in a sense. Um, but in my opinion, a general rule of thumb is your goal is to make logging ideas and making them available as easy as possible. Because I think the reason a lot of people abandon their digital gardens is because it becomes hard to log your ideas and it becomes hard to keep track. So, yeah, second brain digital garden. Perhaps it's really to each their own. Like maybe you only like tending to a digital garden on your laptop because the screen's bigger. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, so now that I've made my vault or the container for my digital garden on Obsidian, I can start with maybe two folders, um, starting with the formats that I usually capture ideas in. So most of the time, honestly, a lot of my curiosities comes from personal observations and realizations. And also, concepts. Right. So let's say, sorry. All right, so I think that now that we've set up the general folders in Obsidian, we can go on to like, how do you even start capturing, contextualizing, and organizing information? This is probably the part that's most overwhelming for some. But yeah, so during our internet walk, we captured things as we went along. And whenever you capture information, I think that some nice things to observe and to document are first, what are the ideas? What's the idea itself? What about it resonated with you? What questions did it make you ask? How did it make you feel? Like, what visceral reaction did it give you? And one of my favorite questions I ask myself is, did this information want to make you argue against it? Um, I think that this is a good question to ask yourself because it makes you evaluate your personal convictions. And also, another thing that I feel very passionately about is attributing and crediting. So, whenever you capture an idea in your notes, let's say I have a personal observation or realization. Um, I think matcha doesn't have to be served, have to be made in a ceremonial way. Like, it's always good to note where you're getting this idea from so that when you, let's say, produce a body of work later on, you can always come back to it and credit people where it's due. Um, so yeah. And then another important part of connecting is how do you even, sorry, um, how do you even, what do you even look for when you connect ideas? So when I connect ideas, what I like to look for is this idea supporting something? Is it contradicting something? Is it reminding me of something? Or is it um, poetically reminding me of something? Sorry, I feel like this is probably a lot of information right now, but I'll walk you guys through how I do it a bit in a bit. So, okay, yeah, I'll show you guys how my process usually is. So right here, I have my Obsidian. So maybe I'll make another folder for questions because most things also arise from that. So here, I'll start with this question I plotted on a read.ma. How has digital abundance affected my ability to find contentment? So let's say I want to log a new note. What I like to do is I keep the main idea in the title, and then you guys see this graph over here, right? So the way that you organize ideas in this graph is by adding hashtags or just tags. This is a question type of information, so I'm going to add question there. Um, and yeah, now it's filed under there. So later on, when you try to find ideas, it'll be easy to find here in the um, tag. Obsidian is super flexible with Markdown, so it's easy to format and organize your ideas. Okay. So I think that what we can do right now is continue to take our internet walk and continue to add ideas in our um vault in our Obsidian vaults. I'm gonna keep this on here so that you guys have a reference for folders. So I'm flashing back here in case you want ideas for folders. Feel free to take a screenshot if you need a guide. Um, yeah, okay. And then here are some general ways that I like to um, connect ideas together. You can also take a screenshot of this. Yeah, so it does take a while for your digital garden to grow, to be honest, to something like this. But I can take you guys through a tour of what it looks like so that you might know what to work towards right now. So as you guys can see here, I do follow the format that I gave. It's kept things structured and less overwhelming. Um, so here, um, under I wanted to explore the question how do you deliver difficult truths? And in that, I explored the question by writing a personal essay, and in that essay that I was writing, I referenced back some concepts that I'd previously logged. So, um, you mentioned this by, so let's say you've already logged the concept like hard posture, and you've already logged the concept complaining is easier. If you want to refer back to these, you can add like the two brackets like that, and then you mention them within your essay. So, um, yeah, let's say another important um, prerequisite for delivering difficult truths is recognizing the power distance, which is another concept I found um, in this book that I read a while back. So, what I would usually do is write the new idea. So, for example, be aware of the power distance between you and the person because it affects how you communicate, how one might receive that. Will it come across as dominating, not encouraging truth? Um, so I want to cross-reference power distance here, so I just put it in brackets. So when you look at the backlinks, so when you try to navigate back to these links, it'll take you to the power distance. Oh, sorry. It'll take you to the power distance concept. There. So click back, takes you to power distance. I see a message in the chat. How long did it take me to build my garden? I think that this one took me around 2 to 3 years, and that's like on and off because I also gardened on Ari.na, and I've also just tried like notebooks and stuff, but I always go back to this one and Ari.na. So I think that we can take like maybe are there any like parts of connecting ideas or logging ideas that unclear? Feel free to like let me know, and I'm happy to walk you through it. I feel like this is a lot of info to take in all at once. But yeah, happy to walk back on certain things. Okay, so if everything is all right, I think we can continue to take our internet walk until what question? How often do I go back and read through my notes? I think that there are seasons where I go back and read through them more than not. Right now I'm navigating med school, so not as much, but when I know that I need to ground myself and rekindle my curiosity, I'll just do like a little session. So maybe like a couple of times every week. Yeah. But I think that it's a bit different for me though, because I don't just do Obsidian, I also do Ari.na. Yeah. Okay, so we can go ahead and continue our internet walk until around perhaps 10:15. And yeah, just continue logging ideas. Let me know if there's anything that I can help with if it's unclear. Oh, sorry, 11:15. My bad. Hmm. Here, an example I think is like while writing these realizations and observations, sometimes questions will arise. Sometimes they're more like factual and informational. Sometimes they're more personal and reflective. So here, like while writing about how I shouldn't feel discouraged when things won't pay off immediately, it made me want to reflect on these specific moments that I did, in fact, get disappointed when things wouldn't play out well the first or second time. So I'm gonna make a new page, a new page that's a question format. What moment that I and all right, see you, Mia. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh yes, I must say, like I used to be a huge Canva girl, but like I feel like Figma, I feel more free with Figma and yeah, feels more versatile. I'm a big Fig Jam lover. I use it to make mental hygiene boards, which I think I've also like talked about mental hygiene boards here. Yeah, there. I should talk about the concept of mental hygiene boards. Not me referencing my own writing from my own website, because I talked a bit about, I made like this framework for mental hygiene real quick, and I realized I haven't put this in my city. Maybe. Oh, I also want to add, I think that one of like, so I did mention that making a digital garden has been very helpful for like, yeah, being a more mindful consumer of information. I also want to add, it's been so helpful in content creation or basically just producing my own bodies of work. Sorry, content creation. I always put that in air quotes. But yeah, because once you've had a digital garden and let's say you want to make like a TikTok or a YouTube video, it is so easy to find like all the different references and even thought patterns, or even processes that yeah, it just really helps in the synthesis of like your scripts and stuff. So I have made a couple of videos with the help of my digital garden because I'm not writing a script from scratch anymore. I've basically written this huge collection of essays that I just have to like repackage or reframe for a new thesis. And just talking about Figma, it made me think about another question, which is it bad when tools oversimplify the creation process? Um, oh, I wish I could convey my exact thought process, verbally, but I'll type it down instead first. Oh yes, that is actually true. Would anyone want to share their digital garden? I'd love to see like what you've been making so far. Okay, it's 11:06. I think we have around like 9 more minutes to do the internet walk while writing things down. Again, like if anything's not super clear, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to walk you through it. Oh, and one of my favorite things too, honestly, about keeping a digital gardening is when you actually forget about things and then you get to revisit them a bit later on. It's like leaving an Easter egg for your future self. So Jamie shared something in the chat. I'll read it out loud. Shared a screen share, but it's been deeply satisfying to put together. DJing Digital Garden? What? Oh, I gotta see this. This is so cool. And remembering what I wrote down 6 months ago on my notes, which I have not touched since. Dog, I gotta get Eagle Scream. DJing Digital Garden. So is this like a digital garden, but it's purely for your learnings on DJing, or like that's so cool. My gosh, I remember I received this newsletter in my email, and I was like, oh, what does that mean? Um, yeah, cool article by Ito. Mm, yeah. Oh, it's Ito's article. Sure. Let me just copy. It's on her company Substack. Just, oh, I've been wanting to write like a strong personal manifesto lately, but I feel like I feel guilty for using general words like empower. Okay, there. Nikki, I sent the article in the chat. Yes, I never thought about putting it all together, but this has been so helpful. Now I have my notes like 001 big pop up hardcore version. Oh, oh, wow. So you're like actually picking snippets of like, I'm assuming these are like your, what do you call those, samples? So the Instagram tutorials, and it feels like so cool to do. It's very awesome. Okay, we can maybe start. Okay, yeah, around 3 minutes, 2 minutes left for internet walk with Ibsayan. Ira has a lot of really good questions here for developing your own manifesto. There you go. Oh, they're right. So yeah, the quote was really long, so I put it in the body and just put the main idea instead in the title. Okay. And as always, attribute. So just dropping attributing is really as simple as dropping a link to your notebook. Oh, yay. Awesome. Hmm. Oh, I have a lot of things here. Um, but I think that's the reality of keeping a digital garden, really. Hmm. Okay. So it's 11:15. I think that I can continue with like the rest of my slides now. Yeah, it is super satisfying to see a digital garden grow over time. Okay, so sorry. Yeah, so once you've started a digital garden on Obsidian, you might be interested in evolving your practice from personal to communal, and there are a couple of ways that you can um, do it. So you can either learn in public or learn with others or do both at the same time. Here, for learning in public, you can, if you explore other ways of making digital gardens, there are ways to make it available as in like a website, like what I did with Cute Girl Garden. So I'm just gonna show you Jackie Zhao's digital garden. I love their work. Um, I think they made, I'm not really sure what the right term for it is, but I think that they built like the infrastructure to make this digital garden, and it's called Quartz, and you can access it for free. It's available online. It's super cute because I remember when COVID was pretty bad and it was a lockdown. There were a couple of um, if you guys know Bianca, she also has a digital garden. I'm not sure if she still nurtures the one that's available. So you can navigate it like this. And they've linked collaborative notes. They've linked notes to it as well. Um, but personally, the method that I like to use more is Ari.NA when it comes to learning in public, just because Ari.NA has these open channels. Open channels are basically like containers for different links, texts, images, pretty much any file you can think about. And you can save them and curate them and talk about them with people on Ari.NA. So here we have Danny's Ari.NA channel on memory decay, memory studies. Um, it's wow, it's been going on for quite a long time. And you can see that she's just saved a bunch of different um, PDFs, images, even memes. I love the memes. Memes related to this. Yeah, this is more of a curational process, I'd say. Um, yeah, it's very nice because you can leave comments and ask questions about them. And what's cool about Ari.NA is you can also connect channel to channel. So you can essentially connect your digital brains to other people's digital brains. And it's really cool. So yeah, here. It links to another open channel on Ari.NA. So you can also add to this other open channel. Really cute. It is very much a love language to nurture your open channels together because you create like this whole shared meeting instead of just having it all personal in Obsidian. Um, but yeah, so now that I've walked you guys through the process of making a digital garden, if anyone would want to share your screen and like tell us about what yours currently looks like, that would be awesome. Okay, Mary and good thing. Len was like, oh wow, I was just about to share Jackie's digital garden. Yes, exactly. Huge inspiration for me and got me curious about Obsidian in the first place. Yeah, totally. I love Jackie's work. I can show you guys another example of a digital garden that is also like in public. But like more on like clay. Um, so oh my God, which one was it again? Oh, here. So Shan made this. Oh no. I hope it's still okay. Sadly, it's not available anymore. But basically, Shen's digital garden was also of this format, but I loved how personal it was, and it wasn't very like, yeah, it wasn't All right. Maybe if so I understand like being shy about screen sharing, but maybe instead of that, what we can do is like um maybe like tell us what it currently looks like. I personally really love the idea of Jamie's DJing Digital Garden. It's the first time I've ever heard of such. Yay, okay, that's awesome. Yeah, do you have screen sharing friends, Jeff?
Let me see. No, I'm gonna send a request.
All right. Let me give you. Sorry, I'm gonna stop sharing first.
Oh, I can share now.
All right.
Thank you. Um, so here, let me start. Can you all see this?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so to give some context, I was interested in um, kind of creative and alternative ways to teach uh, about topics that are not just programming. So I was thinking about simulation because I was prototyping a simulation project, kind of game thing, and it was very insightful on the thing I was trying to make the simulation for. So I was looking into, let's see, just like how easy it is to teach like people how to make a simulation. So I started by Googling JavaScript simulations for beginner programmers. And then I found this, um, what is it? It's like a program that was made to be an easier way
Mhm.
to make simulations. And then it here, mentioned this thing called constructionism. So yeah, I guess you can just read this. Involves students drawing their own conclusions through experimentation in the making of social objects. Teacher becomes mediator instead of instructor. Teacher facilitates students on goals. And it also mentioned this programming language. I never heard of it, but looks interesting.
That's really cute.
And then it also mentioned this thing called agent sheets, or agent cubes, which is like the new version. It's like a uh, simulation maker for kids, basically.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I had an arena channel of all these topics, and I was just using Obsidian to um, kind of map it out.
Okay, cool. You've like have you added your uri.any to the directory? Because I'd love to have a look later.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, cool. Okay, well, thank you so much for that, Jep. I'll have to go through your uri.any later. And thank you so much for showing us what your obsidian garden looks like.
yeah, no
Again,
problem.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. So yeah, it really does take a lot of time before your digital garden booms, I guess, in a way. But yeah, that's just another value that digital gardening teaches you, I think. Curating and synthesizing ideas meaningfully is a thing that happens over time, and overall, you're doing this again to build relationships with information. It can't really be sped. run. So yeah, with that, I think that's the end of my slides. Thank you so much for participating in the workshop, and I think we'll be sending out like a post-workshop resource in case you need something to refer back to. It also has things like plugins. Oh, right, I wasn't able to mention this earlier, but yeah, plugins can make your experience a lot cooler. I think I can like so just show this really quick. But yeah, Obsidian has thousands of plugins. Some of them can make your vault look cuter. So like if you want it pink or like pastel or whatever, it has that. And there are also some plugins that whenever you open Obsidian, it jumps to a random note. So that helps you rediscover your ideas a lot more. And also there is this other plugin that I don't think I can pull it up right now, but there's also this other freight method that I saw on LinkedIn, wherein basically she connected ChatGPT to her Obsidian, and she could basically like ask questions to her Obsidian from ChatGPT. So that was super cool, and it would basically tie everything together. If you also want to explore that, it'll be in the resource that we'll put out later. Okay, yeah, that's it for me, I think. Chia.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts and comments and filling in these docs. Thank you, Fran, for the lovely walkthrough and intro to digital gardening, your thought process, and Obsidian. Thank you for voicing over your practice and process and giving us a snippet. I feel like we're all going to be really excited to see how long we can create our information, go on more intentional internet walks, etc. We'll send information after the workshop. Fran has curated like a lovely notion of resources. Actually, maybe I can screen share it just to give people a sneak peek, but we'll post a Loom announcement right after. Um, Let me see if I can pull it up. But if anyone has any last questions, maybe we can leave like 5 minutes to watch the chat. But other than that, yeah, please expect the recording, some workshop resources, and you can reach out to Fran for any additional questions right now or after the workshop. Feel free to reach her by email.
Yes, I'll drop my email in the chat in case you want to reach me. Or you can just send like a DM on Instagram. I think that would be a lot quicker.
Yeah, we'll send out this Notion with a compilation of resources and thoughts from the workshop. In addition to Arena and Obsidian, which we spoke over a bit, there are a few other tools that we mentioned here, or that we haven't really explicitly mentioned that we compiled here that you can explore as well. Here's a bit of the plugins and tooling that Fran had mentioned. So you will be able to dig into that after. Yeah. That's it. We'll hang around for a couple more minutes, but to the rest, thank you um, for your time. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, wherever you are. Thanks so much for supporting Develop with a workshop. Please stay tuned and follow us on our platforms. We're Develop with an H, develop.org. We are most active on Instagram and Discord, and you can take a look at our programming for future workshops, for future art exhibitions, and other opportunities. We're working on a publication. We're going to host more workshops and talks. Yeah, and let us know how you feel about the workshop, what topics you're interested in, etc. We're really trying to cultivate a community of technologists, artists, researchers, creators, and students who are curious about more intentional ways of relating with technology and the arts. So this workshop is a lovely step into that.
Yes, and get well soon, Chia. And if you're in Manila and sick, um, hope you get well soon too. Yeah, I dropped my email in the chat if you ever want to reach me for like questions or ideas.
Yes, take care, everyone.